Exercise 1, page 138.
Mystic places. There are certain places around the world that are surrounded by mystery because they contain the remains of lost civilizations. They may have strange buildings, unusual statues, or interesting temples, but they are places of great architectural beauty and archaeological interest. A. Easter Island. On Easter Sunday, the 5th of April 1722, Jacob Roggeveen, a Dutch explorer, found and named a small island in the Pacific Ocean, 2,000 miles from South America. He was the first European to visit the world's most remote inhabited island. He noticed that the island had very few trees or animals, and there were only a few thousand people who lived there. He also could not fail to notice the hundreds of magnificent stone statues that stood proudly all over the island. These 887 statues, called moai, are up to 10 meters tall and weigh about 80 tons. No one knows why they were built and how exactly they were carved and transported at least 14 miles across the island, or by whom. One theory is that a great civilization built them and cut down the trees to transport them, and when all the trees were gone, the animals died out, and so did the people. Other researchers think climate change affected the island and its people. Perhaps we will never know the truth, and so Easter Island will remain a beautiful and mysterious place. B. Kailasa Temple. The Kailasa Temple was cut by hand from a granite cliff in Ellora, about 300 kilometers northeast of Mumbai. Generations of dedicated monks lived, worked, and worshipped their gods there, and created the largest structure in the world carved from a single rock. Built around the 8th century, it is believed to have taken 7,000 workers 150 years to carve it, and removed 200,000 tons of rock from it. Every surface is covered with symbols and figures, and the temple is full of beautiful sculptures. It was built to honor the Hindu god, Lord Shiva. Around the base of the temple, some 90 meters below the surface, there are hundreds of carved elephants that look as if they are carrying the temple on their backs. This unique place brings the ancient culture of India to life. C. Machu Picchu. Otherwise known as the Lost City of the Incas, Machu Picchu is an ancient Incan city located almost 2,500 meters above sea level in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Machu Picchu is invisible from below, and no one knows when life in this city ended. It was forgotten by almost everyone until an American called Hiram Bingham found it in 1911. Unlike many other Incan ruins, it has not been damaged by Spanish invaders, only by time. Many of the buildings are completely preserved. It is thought to have been a royal residence, a sort of holiday home. The walls of the houses, temples, parks and buildings are made from dry stone without any cement, and the stones fit together so perfectly not even a knife edge can fit between them. It is an amazing feat of craftsmanship. According to legends, the mountain has magical properties, and that's why the city was built there in the first place. D. Delphi. Delphi, at the foot of Mount Parnassus, is one of the most amazing archaeological sites in Greece. In ancient times, it was thought to be the centre of the known world. It was also a spiritual centre for several thousand years, because it was the home of the oracle. This was a mysterious force said to be the spirit of the god Apollo, that spoke through the high priestess of the temple of Apollo, called the Pythia. People travelled a long and difficult journey through the mountains to visit the temple and consult the oracle, who predicted the future and answered people's questions. The success of the oracle made the town very wealthy, as the city-states of Greece gave offerings for every victory they had in battle. Most of the ruins that you can see today, including the temple of Apollo, the treasuries, the gymnasium, the stadium, and the theatre, date back to the 5th and 6th centuries BC. Some people also say that the oracle is still there, and if you listen carefully enough, you may hear it.
Exercise 8, page 141. 1.
So, would you recommend that I get the round-the-world ticket?
Well, that depends on what's important to you. It's not necessarily the cheapest option, but it allows the most flexibility. If you change your mind about where you want to go next, for example, or if you want to stay where you are for a bit longer, you can, without any extra cost. Provided that there is a seat available on the flight you want, of course.
Oh, right. Actually, that sounds like it might be the best option for me, because I haven't really made up my mind exactly where I'd like to go yet. So how much is that ticket?
Well, for an 8-destination open ticket, it's $2,000.
2.
You know, my husband is exactly the same as you. He flies because he wants to see the world, but he's scared stiff and feels nervous for days before each flight. I keep telling him that flying is the safest form of transport, but it doesn't make any difference. To tell you the truth, I used to love flying because it meant I was going somewhere nice. But these days I have to fly so often for my job that it really doesn't thrill me anymore. I find it rather tedious, in fact, especially when I'm flying with one of those budget airlines that don't even show any movies or serve you a meal.
3. I've been booking all of my business trips with this airline for years now, simply because they have such a good reputation. But quite frankly, I've been a bit disappointed with them lately. Don't get me wrong, I've never had a problem with the flights being delayed or cancelled or anything, but I just get the impression that their customers aren't so important to them anymore. It all seems to be about money now. You know, serving a quick sandwich instead of a hot meal, cutting down the legroom in economy, only letting you take a small amount of luggage, and then charging you more if you want to take more. It's a shame because they'll definitely start losing customers if they carry on like this.